Have you ever found yourself feeling like you're living someone else's life? Like you're constantly striving to meet expectations, whether it's from your family, friends, or society, and in the process, losing sight of who you are? You're not alone. So many of us spend decades trying to meet the standards that are imposed on us, working harder to climb the corporate ladder, accumulating possessions we think we need, and attending events we don't enjoy, all in the pursuit of approval or trying to keep up with a world that tells us what we should be. But what if, after you hit 70, you could finally break free from that cycle? What if you could embrace who you truly are, without the pressure to live up to someone else's idea of success? Imagine waking up every day with a profound sense of peace, knowing that you're living life authentically, fully embracing what brings you joy without guilt or hesitation. What if you could finally prioritize your happiness and find a sense of purpose that is uniquely your own? In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the most powerful insights that come with age. These are the kinds of lessons that only experience can teach us, the kind of wisdom that allows you to let go of toxic relationships, material things that weigh you down, and societal pressures that never really served you. I'll show you how to step away from unnecessary comparisons with others, how to embrace your authentic beauty, and how to say no to obligations that no longer contribute to your well-being. These are the insights that many people don't come to realize until much later in life. But when you do, they can completely transform how you live, how you feel, and how you experience the world around you. By sticking with me until the end of this video, you'll discover the incredible freedom that comes from letting go of the burden of other people's opinions. You'll learn the joy of decluttering not just your physical space, but also your mind and heart, and how to take control of your happiness without feeling guilty. If you're tired of living according to other people's expectations, constantly seeking validation, and want to step into a life that is truly yours, one that fills you with peace, joy, and fulfillment, this video is exactly what you've been waiting for. So stick around, as we dive deep into how you can live with more authenticity, happiness, and confidence, no matter what age you are. You deserve this, and I'm here to show you how. If you're not already subscribed, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of the valuable videos coming your way. Your support means the world to me. And if you've enjoyed this video, please help me continue spreading these important messages by liking and sharing it with your friends and family. If you resonate with the topic of this video, please leave a comment saying 1. If it's not quite what you expected, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please comment 0 and let me know how I can improve. Now, let's jump in. 1. The freedom of not worrying about others' opinions. Throughout our lives, many of us have carried the weight of other people's expectations. From the moment we're born, we're taught to seek approval from everyone around us. Our parents, teachers, friends, and later, our colleagues and society. We are constantly told how to act, what to wear, how to behave, and even how to live our lives. For much of our younger years, we strive to meet the standards and images that others impose on us. Whether it's the pressure to look a certain way or to achieve specific goals by a certain age, we often find ourselves trying to fit into a mold that doesn't reflect who we are as individuals. Society's expectations can be overwhelming, and so we chase after approval, all the while feeling a little bit lost, unsure of whether we're living for ourselves or just fulfilling someone else's idea of what life should look like. But here's the thing, when you hit 70, something changes. You've lived long enough to experience the highs and lows of life, the joys and struggles, and the lessons learned along the way. And with that wisdom comes an incredible realization. Other people's opinions no longer have the same power over you. You finally understand that your worth is not determined by what others think of you or by the standards they set. It's a profound moment of liberation. For the first time, you realize that you don't need to mold yourself to fit anyone else's expectations. You no longer feel the weight of needing to please everyone around you, and that brings a deep sense of peace. No matter how hard we try, there will always be someone who criticizes our decisions, our lifestyle, or the choices we make. The truth is, we can't live our lives based on the opinions of others, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how we feel about ourselves. Living for the approval of others is a heavy burden, one that too many of us carry for much of our lives. But as we age, we begin to realize that one of the greatest gifts that maturity offers is the freedom to let go of that pressure. By choosing to stop worrying about what others think, we regain a freedom that many of us hadn't felt in years. Freedom from judgment, freedom to be authentic, freedom to simply be ourselves. This freedom allows us to live life on our terms, making decisions that are aligned with our values and what brings us true happiness, rather than trying to meet the ever-changing expectations of others. It's a moment of self-acceptance. We stop striving to be something we're not, and instead, we begin to embrace who we truly are. And when we live authentically, prioritizing what makes us happy and fulfilled, we let go of the need for validation. It doesn't matter if others disagree with our choices or our path in life. What matters is that we are at peace with ourselves and our decisions. This liberation, this freedom from seeking approval, is one of the most rewarding gifts that life after 70 can offer. We no longer need to apologize for who we are, and we certainly don't need to justify our choices to anyone. We are free to live without the weight of others' expectations, and in doing so, we embrace our true selves, confidently and unapologetically. 2. Freeing ourselves from the burden of material possessions. As we get older, we begin to realize something powerful. True happiness doesn't come from the accumulation of material possessions. For much of our lives, we've been taught that success is measured by the things we own. The house filled with furniture, the closets overflowing with clothes, the garage stacked with items we rarely use. We were conditioned to believe that more possessions equaled more stability, more success, and, ultimately, more happiness. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But once we reach our 70s, a profound shift occurs. We start to see that these material goods don't bring the joy we expected, and in fact, they often become a burden. Things that once seemed essential begin to clutter our space, both physically and mentally. As the years go by, we realize that we don't need as much as we thought to live a fulfilling life. Letting go of material possessions becomes one of the most refreshing and liberating experiences of this stage of life. The act of getting rid of items, whether it's the clothes we haven't worn in years, the furniture that no longer serves its purpose, or the piles of things that have just accumulated over time, feels like taking a deep breath of fresh air. This process of decluttering isn't about stripping ourselves of everything we have. Instead, it's about doing a deep, honest evaluation of what really adds value to our lives and what is simply taking up space. It's about recognizing the difference between what is useful, meaningful, or joyful and what is just extra weight, both physically and mentally. Clearing out our physical space doesn't just lighten our homes, it also lightens our minds. As we let go of things, we also free ourselves from the emotional attachments that come with them. We often hold onto items because they are connected to memories, moments, or people we don't want to forget. It's understandable. Our homes become full of mementos of our past, and we cling to them out of fear that letting go will mean letting go of the memories themselves. But here's the truth. Memories and experiences don't live in objects. They live within us, in our hearts and minds. We can honor those special moments without needing to hoard things that no longer serve us. When we release the hold material possessions have over us, we create room for new experiences, new relationships, and meaningful moments that fill our lives with joy and purpose. Imagine the peace that comes from living in a home that feels lighter, simpler, and more open, where only the things you truly use or love remain. This simplification process allows us to reconnect with the essentials. The things, the people, and the experiences that truly bring us happiness. It's not about minimalism for its own sake, but about embracing the freedom that comes with living a life unburdened by things. At this stage of life, especially after turning 70, we realize that true wealth isn't found in possessions. Real wealth is in the freedom to live without being tied down by things, whether that's a desire to constantly acquire or the weight of keeping up with material expectations. True wealth comes from the ability to choose what matters most, to focus on what adds value to our lives, and to surround ourselves only with what truly enriches our experience. So, as we age, we have the rare opportunity to release the hold of materialism and embrace a life where we are unbound by possessions, where freedom and peace become our most valuable treasures. 3. Saying no to unnecessary social obligations. Once you reach 70, there's a moment of clarity, a realization of just how liberating it can be to say no to social obligations that no longer serve us. For much of our lives, we've been caught in the cycle of fulfilling commitments, often saying yes out of habit or to avoid disappointing others. Whether it's attending family gatherings that drain our energy, social events with distant friends, or celebrations that just don't feel right for us anymore, we've spent so much time trying to please others that we forget about our own needs. Throughout the years, we've been conditioned to prioritize social appearances and obligations. We've sacrificed our time, our well-being, and sometimes even our peace of mind just to meet external expectations. It's hard to say no, especially when it comes to things like family events or gatherings with people we care about. But as we get older, we come to understand the importance of valuing our time and energy differently. We learn to set boundaries, and we finally realize that it's okay to say no. In some cultures, family gatherings and celebrations are such an integral part of social life that it can feel almost impossible to opt out. For example, in many Hispanic cultures, there's an expectation that elders will always attend family events, even if they no longer enjoy them or feel up to the task. These events are seen as significant, and there's often an emotional weight that comes with missing them. But with age, we start to shift our focus from doing things out of obligation to choosing what truly aligns with our well-being. Saying no doesn't make us selfish. It's a form of self-care, a way of protecting our inner peace and honoring our own needs. We no longer need to attend every family dinner, birthday party, baptism, or wedding. It's okay to pass on an event if we're not feeling it, if we're exhausted, or if we'd rather spend our time doing something that truly fills us up. At this stage of life, it's all about choosing when and how we engage with the world. We don't have to isolate ourselves, but we can become more intentional about the moments we choose to share with others. Instead of attending every social gathering, we can prioritize the relationships and activities that truly bring us joy. Whether that's spending time with close friends, enjoying a quiet day at home, or indulging in a good book, we now have the freedom to say no to what doesn't serve us. As we grow older, time becomes increasingly precious. Every moment feels more valuable, and we start to become more intentional about how we spend it. By setting boundaries and freeing ourselves from the pressure to attend every event or gathering, we create space to appreciate the moments that truly matter. We learn to focus on what nourishes us and what makes us feel good, rather than worrying about meeting the expectations of others. The beauty of this stage in life is that we no longer need to attend social events out of obligation. When we choose to show up, we do so because we genuinely want to be there, and that makes the experience so much more fulfilling. By setting boundaries and respecting our own needs, we teach those around us to do the same. In turn, our relationships grow stronger because they're built on authenticity and mutual respect. The people in our lives will come to value the time we spend with them even more because it's no longer about fulfilling an obligation. It's about sharing genuine, meaningful moments. 4. Embracing authentic beauty. As we age, particularly after we cross the 70-year milestone, we are given a precious opportunity. The chance to embrace our authentic beauty and let go of society's superficial expectations. For much of our lives, we've been bombarded with messages telling us what beauty should look like. From the pages of magazines to the endless stream of images on social media, we've been conditioned to equate beauty with youth, flawless skin, and slim bodies. The constant pressure to conform to these standards can make us feel as though we must fight against aging, hide our wrinkles, cover up the grays, and chase after an ideal of eternal youth. These ideals are everywhere, shaping the way we view ourselves and others, creating a narrative that tells us that aging is something to be feared and resisted. But as the years pass, we begin to realize something incredibly freeing. These expectations are not only unrealistic, but they also don't matter. True beauty isn't found in the appearance we present to the world, but in the authenticity we carry within ourselves. It's found in the confidence we have when we stand tall in who we are, and in the wisdom that we've gathered over the years. At 70, many of us find the freedom in accepting our bodies just as they are. Wrinkles, once seen as something to hide, are now seen as the beautiful, visible marks of a life well lived. Marks of shared laughter, challenges overcome, and the experiences that have shaped us. Those lines on our faces are more than just signs of aging. They are a testament to the full, rich lives we've led. Every gray hair is a symbol of the wisdom we've accumulated over time, a reminder that aging is a privilege, not something to be ashamed of. This stage of life invites us to redefine beauty on our terms. We no longer need to measure ourselves by society's fleeting ideals, which are often surface-level and short-lived. True beauty comes from within. It's the peace and serenity that comes with accepting who we are, without the need to be someone we're not. This is the kind of beauty that deepens over time, as we grow into our true selves. Real beauty manifests in the way we treat others, in the kindness we show, in the meaningful conversations we have, and in the quiet strength that radiates from within. It's a beauty that doesn't fade with time. It grows stronger. It's the kind of beauty that comes from a life filled with experiences, learning, and personal growth, and it becomes more powerful as the years pass. In this new chapter of life, it's essential to set aside the societal pressure to meet external expectations. We no longer need to impress anyone with our appearance or hide our age behind layers of makeup or clothing. Instead, we can enjoy the freedom that comes with just being ourselves, confidently embracing our authenticity. By fully embracing our authentic beauty, we not only free ourselves but also set an example for younger generations. We teach them to value what matters: character, integrity, and authenticity, over the superficial appearance that society often prioritizes. This acceptance of our true selves gives us the confidence to live fully, to be joyful in who we are, and to inspire others to do the same. We no longer worry about hiding what we've been taught to think of as imperfections. Instead, we wear them with pride, knowing they are an essential part of our story. This is the beauty that transcends time, the beauty that reflects who we are at our core, and it's the beauty that allows us to connect with others on a much deeper level. 5. Reevaluating activities that no longer bring joy. As the years go by, our priorities shift, and the things that once filled us with joy may no longer hold the same meaning. This becomes especially clear when we reach the age of 70, a time when reflection and renewal naturally take place. We find ourselves at a stage in life where we can evaluate what we've been doing and ask ourselves if the activities that occupy our days still bring us happiness, or if we've been continuing them simply out of habit or obligation. Let's face it, life is too short to keep doing things that no longer fulfill us. We often find ourselves stuck in routines, attending events, or engaging in activities that don't spark joy or excitement. What once satisfied us can slowly turn into a burden, leaving us feeling drained or even disconnected from our true selves. Throughout life, we often build habits or routines that seem important at the time, whether it is a hobby we love, a group of friends we hang out with, or a social circle we enjoy. Over time, however, these activities can lose their appeal. The hobbies that once made us happy can become monotonous, or the social gatherings that once felt fulfilling might begin to feel like an obligation. This is when it's time for a reset. Reevaluating these activities doesn't mean rejecting our past, but rather acknowledging that as we evolve, so do our desires. What made us happy at 30 or 50 may not be what we need or enjoy at 70. This realization is incredibly liberating. It gives us the freedom to prioritize our present well-being over old habits that no longer resonate with who we are now. Letting go of activities that no longer bring us joy isn't about abandoning who we were, but about making space for new experiences. Just as we shed old possessions that no longer serve us, we can also let go of routines or activities that have become stale or boring. By doing so, we open up the room to discover new interests, hobbies, and passions that better align with the person we've become. At first, letting go can be difficult. We often hold on to the familiar because it feels safe, even if it no longer makes us happy. The fear of the unknown or of stepping outside our comfort zones can hold us back. But the act of freeing ourselves from outdated routines is essential to living a fulfilling life at this stage. The beauty of this phase of life is that we now can consciously choose how we spend our time. We are no longer bound by the same professional or family obligations that once dominated our days. Instead, we have the freedom to devote our energy to the things that truly satisfy us. Whether that's picking up a forgotten passion, exploring a new hobby, or simply enjoying the luxury of doing nothing, the value lies not in how much we do, but in the quality of the experiences we choose. Reevaluating our activities also invites us to be more selective with our time. We don't have to attend every social gathering or participate in every event out of social pressure or habit. By taking the time to reflect on what truly makes us happy, we permit ourselves to live more intentionally and authentically. This stage of life gives us the freedom to curate our experiences, filling our time with only what brings us joy and fulfillment. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. This process of reevaluation allows us to reconnect with our true desires and needs. It helps us leave behind the activities that no longer serve our happiness and embrace the joy of living in the present. By shedding the unnecessary burdens of old obligations, we create space for a more vibrant, intentional life. At 70, we learn that our time is one of the most precious things we have. By choosing to fill it with what truly matters, we allow ourselves to live more lightly and with a deeper sense of purpose. We're no longer weighed down by meaningless tasks or routines. Instead, we open ourselves up to a life full of new experiences, greater fulfillment, and a renewed sense of joy. 6. Cutting ties with toxic relationships. Throughout our lives, relationships play a fundamental role in our happiness and well-being. The people we connect with shape our experiences, influence our emotions, and often determine the quality of our lives. However, not all relationships are healthy or constructive. Some, over time, can become sources of stress, emotional exhaustion, or even deep pain. By the time we reach 70, we've accumulated enough wisdom and experience to see more clearly which relationships nurture us and which ones drain us. This is the moment when we have the freedom and clarity to make a brave, but necessary decision: to cut ties with the people whose presence in our lives has become toxic or harmful. For years, we may have held on to friendships or family relationships out of habit, commitment, or even a fear of the social repercussions that come with distancing ourselves. It's easy to continue enduring a relationship that no longer serves us, especially when we feel an obligation or a sense of duty to maintain it. But at this stage of life, our well-being becomes more important than holding on to relationships that cause emotional pain or stress. Toxic relationships come in many forms. They might involve people who constantly criticize us, make us feel inadequate, or only take from us without giving anything meaningful in return. These are relationships that bring more suffering than joy. They prevent us from living a peaceful, fulfilling life. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or even a long-term partner, we must recognize that staying in a toxic relationship is doing more harm than good. Cutting ties with a toxic relationship isn't selfish. It's an act of self-love and self-compassion. It's about recognizing that we deserve to surround ourselves with people who uplift us, who respect us, and who genuinely care about our growth and happiness. Sometimes, the fear of conflict or the idea of hurting someone's feelings can hold us back from ending a relationship that no longer serves us. But it's crucial to remember that taking care of ourselves should always be a priority. We cannot continue to give our time, energy, or emotional support to people who drain us, especially when it comes at the expense of our mental health. Letting go of these toxic relationships creates space for healthier, more rewarding connections. It also creates space for moments of peace and solitude, where we can simply enjoy our own company without the emotional burden of negativity. This process isn't always easy. It can bring up feelings of guilt or sadness, especially if it's a long-standing relationship or if the person is a family member. But by making this choice, we are freeing ourselves from a toxic emotional burden that, in the long run, will only continue to harm us. We have to remember that we are not obligated to maintain relationships that hurt us simply because of the time we've spent together or the family ties that bind us. The quality of our relationships is far more important than their duration or the type of bond we have. We deserve to spend our time and energy on people who add value to our lives, not on those who constantly drag us down. By cutting ties with toxic people, we open up space to refocus our energy on relationships that truly matter. These are the people who support and inspire us, who stand by us through good times and bad, who celebrate our victories and comfort us in our struggles. These are the relationships that nourish us, that help us continue growing as individuals, and that are worth investing in. When we let go of toxic relationships, we send a powerful message to ourselves that we deserve to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. This act of liberation not only improves our emotional health, but also sets a higher standard for the relationships we allow into our lives moving forward. As we move through life, we learn to recognize the signs of toxicity early on. We become better at setting healthy boundaries that protect our peace and preserve our energy. This process helps us live more authentically, more lightly, and with a sharper focus on what truly matters, our inner peace and happiness. Letting go of toxic relationships teaches us to prioritize our well-being and surround ourselves with positivity and support. It is a powerful reminder that, at any age, we can choose who we allow into our lives, and we deserve to be surrounded by people who lift us, not bring us down. 7. Stopping comparisons with others. Throughout our lives, it's almost impossible not to compare ourselves to others. From a very young age, we're exposed to societal standards and expectations that push us, sometimes subtly, directly, to measure ourselves based on what others have or what they've accomplished. These comparisons shape the way we see ourselves and can often lead to dissatisfaction, as we constantly feel like we're not measuring up. The habit of comparison can touch every area of our lives: our careers, our material possessions, our physical appearance, our relationships, and even our level of happiness. We look at others and wonder why their lives seem more successful or easier than ours. We might wish we had their achievements, their wealth, or their seemingly perfect relationships. But as we grow older, particularly once we hit 70, we start to realize that this constant comparison isn't just unhealthy, it's unnecessary. At 70, we've learned enough about ourselves and the world to understand that no one else's life can be a true measure of our own. We each have our own path, our own struggles, and our own circumstances. What looks like a perfect life from the outside often hides challenges and sacrifices we don't see. This is a key lesson that comes with age. Comparisons are misleading. True happiness and fulfillment can never be accurately measured by someone else's standards. Instead of focusing on how others have succeeded, we can turn our attention inward and focus on our journey. We can appreciate the experiences we've had, the relationships we've built, and the personal growth we've achieved. The wisdom we gain with age teaches us that success isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. What once seemed important, like professional achievements or the accumulation of material things, often becomes less significant as we grow older. What truly matters as we age is not what we have or what we've done compared to others, but the joy and peace we experience along the way. Our happiness is determined by how we feel about our own lives and how content we are with the choices we've made. By letting go of the need to compare ourselves to others, we also release the pressure of meeting external expectations that no longer align with who we are. It's natural to feel envious at times or to wonder if we've accomplished as much as someone else. But over time, we realize that happiness is personal. It isn't about matching up to someone else's version of success. What makes us happy might look completely different from what makes someone else happy, and that's perfectly fine. When we stop comparing, we open up space for greater gratitude for what we have accomplished and for the small joys that enrich our lives. Instead of wondering if we measure up to others, we begin asking ourselves, am I living in a way that makes me proud? Living in a constant state of comparison robs us of the joy that comes with our victories. Often, we accomplish something significant, something that's meaningful to us, but instead of celebrating it, we downplay it because it doesn't seem as impressive as what others have achieved. This takes away our satisfaction and keeps us stuck in a never-ending cycle of seeking validation from outside sources. By letting go of the need to compare, we regain the ability to feel proud of our successes, no matter how small they might seem to others. One of the greatest freedoms we can experience after 70 is the ability to simply be ourselves, without the need to impress anyone or compete with others. We've earned the right to live on our terms. At this stage of life, we come to understand that the only thing that truly matters is how we feel about ourselves and the life we've created. We no longer need to chase after someone else's vision of success. We have the freedom to live authentically and appreciate our unique journey, with all of its twists and turns. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we also free ourselves from the constant anxiety and pressure that comparison brings. Instead of focusing on what we lack or what others have, we can focus on what matters: our health, our relationships, and the simple moments of happiness that make life worthwhile. Letting go of comparison is a powerful step toward living more fully. We can now find greater satisfaction in our path, enjoy the present moment, and embrace the life we've worked hard to build on our terms. 8. Redefining goals that are no longer relevant. Throughout our lives, the goals and dreams we pursue are often shaped by the social, family, and personal expectations we encounter at different stages. In our younger years, it's common to focus on building a career, raising a family, accumulating material wealth, or hitting certain milestones we believe will lead to a fulfilled and successful life. These goals often define us, driving us to work harder and aim higher. But as we approach 70, many of these goals may no longer resonate in the same way. What once seemed crucial to our happiness and fulfillment may have lost its relevance or meaning. And that's okay. Redefining our goals at this stage of life is not only natural, it's essential for embracing a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment. Looking back, we might recognize that some of the goals we spent decades working toward no longer hold the same value. Perhaps we've already achieved many of them, or we've come to understand that the things we thought we wanted aren't as important as we once believed. Maybe we're realizing that what we truly desire in life now looks very different from what it did when we were younger. Redefining our goals at this point doesn't mean giving up on our dreams. Rather, it's about adjusting our expectations to better fit who we are now and what brings us joy. It's about aligning our ambitions with the reality of this stage in our lives. And that's a liberating process. For example, if our primary focus in the past was on career success, we may now find that work doesn't hold the same central place in our lives. Instead, we may feel a deep desire to spend more time with loved ones, enjoy personal hobbies, or simply live with greater peace and tranquility. The goals we set now may not be about climbing a corporate ladder or acquiring more things, but about cultivating inner happiness and nourishing the relationships that truly matter. By redefining our goals, we shift our focus to what truly makes us happy in the present moment, instead of continuing to chase after achievements that no longer bring fulfillment. This change in perspective gives us the freedom to let go of the pressure to meet the expectations we've placed on ourselves for years. We can release the belief that our worth is defined by what we do or how much we accomplish. In our earlier years, success might have meant professional achievements, financial growth, or societal recognition. But as we age, we start to prioritize well-being, contentment, and inner peace. Redefining our goals helps us embrace new opportunities and experiences that we might not have considered before, opening the door to new adventures, passions, and interests that align more with our current desires and life circumstances. This process of reevaluating our goals doesn't mean abandoning our past dreams. Rather, it's an invitation to make space for new ones. It allows us to embrace the freedom of living in the present, without the burden of past expectations or a relentless race to do more and achieve more. Instead, we focus on what brings us joy, balance, and satisfaction. At this stage in life, redefining our goals brings a sense of peace and fulfillment. We can stop measuring our success by past standards and start focusing on what truly matters: our health, our happiness, and the quality of the relationships we nurture. We allow ourselves to enjoy life as it is, appreciating the beauty of the present moment instead of constantly striving for something more. Redefining our goals is about embracing what's meaningful to us now, not what we thought would define us years ago. It's about living with intention, gratitude, and joy. We come to realize that our worth isn't determined by external markers of success, but by the love we give and receive, the peace we cultivate within, and the happiness we create for ourselves and others. 9. Prioritizing your happiness without guilt. By the time we reach 70, one of the most important lessons we can learn is to prioritize our happiness without guilt. For so much of our lives, we've been taught to put others' needs ahead of our own. Whether it was out of love, a sense of duty, or simply the social pressures to care for our family, friends, or community, we've spent years sacrificing our desires to meet the expectations of others. However, reaching this golden stage in life is the perfect time to reflect on what truly makes us happy. It's a moment when we can embrace the idea that our happiness matters, just as much as if not more than anyone else's. And we don't have to feel guilty about it. This is our time, and we deserve to fully enjoy life in all its beauty, without feeling the need to apologize or justify our choices. For many of us, prioritizing our happiness can feel like a challenge. If we've spent decades thinking that our worth is defined by what we do for others, it can be hard to shed that mindset. We might feel that putting ourselves first is selfish or wrong. But, in reality, it's an act of courage and self-compassion. It's recognizing that we have every right to live fully, to pursue what brings us joy, and to create a life that feels authentic to us. Over the years, we may have sacrificed our interests, our dreams, or our sense of self in order to please others or meet expectations. We may have poured so much energy into caring for others that we lost touch with what we truly want. This can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction, emptiness, or even resentment. But now, as we age, it's time to reclaim that energy and focus it on ourselves, on what truly makes us happy. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Adopting the mindset that prioritizing our happiness is not only acceptable but necessary is one of the most freeing shifts we can make. We no longer need to feel guilty for pursuing our own desires. We no longer need to seek permission or approval from others to do what feels right for us. By letting go of the burden of constantly justifying our choices, we begin to liberate ourselves from the emotional weight that comes with trying to meet everyone else's expectations. Prioritizing our happiness allows us to explore new activities, hobbies, and even relationships that bring us joy and fulfillment. Maybe there's a passion we've put aside for years or a new interest we've always wanted to pursue. Now is the time to dive into those things that make us feel alive, curious, and engaged. This process of self-prioritization also involves learning how to say no. It's so easy to feel obligated to say yes to every invitation or request, but as we get older, we learn that it's okay to decline if something doesn't resonate with us. Saying no isn't selfish, it's a form of self-respect. It's about creating space for what truly fills us, whether that's spending more time with our loved ones, indulging in a forgotten hobby, or simply taking time to care for ourselves. Setting boundaries and respecting our own needs allows us to live with intention, choosing activities and people that truly bring us peace and happiness. By putting our happiness first, we begin to discover a version of ourselves that may have been waiting in the wings for years. We uncover the person we were meant to be, free from guilt, free from obligation, and free to embrace life on our terms. This transformative shift doesn't just change our own lives, it also empowers those around us. When we are fully ourselves, we inspire others to do the same, to embrace their happiness, to prioritize their well-being, and to live authentically. As we've explored today, the wisdom that comes with age can open doors to a more fulfilling, authentic life. From letting go of societal expectations and material possessions to prioritizing our happiness and redefining our goals, we've discussed the powerful ways we can live with greater peace, purpose, and joy. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned so far? Is there one thing that stood out to you, something you plan to bring into your own life and practice moving forward? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're going to apply these insights to live a more authentic and happy life. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your comment, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more valuable lessons to those who need them. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing how you're embracing these life-changing practices.